Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. I have some breaking news for you. This might be the beginning of the end for the Columbus Police Civilian Review Board. I know I'm being a little bit dramatic and I'm doing that on purpose just because I find this amusing. So I was watching the Columbus Police Civilian Review Board meeting the other day. At this point in time, it's only 3 days old. And one of the first things that they talked about during the meeting is the fact that they had 3 board members resign, and those board members have not yet been replaced. And they had a conversation like, hey, we don't know if we're going to be able to hold a quorum and have meetings and vote on our cases and stuff like that going forward, which I absolutely find hilarious. So I'm going to let you watch the discussion, but I wanted to just give it a really brief introduction here. So the 3 board members that are leaving the Columbus Police Civilian Review Board are the 3 guys that you're looking behind me right now. The first one is Reverend Charles Tatum. He's some kind of minister or reverend in the city of Columbus. He's been on the board this entire time. Sorry, my phone is on. He's a moron. For lack of a better term. Some of the stuff that I've seen coming out of his mouth and the comparisons are absolutely incredible. He compared a Second Amendment activist that the police officers just simply spoke to and didn't put their hands on him, didn't ask for ID, didn't demand anything of him. And then he compared that to a case about a woman that threw a brick through a convenience store window. And he said one of the comparisons he made was, I'll try to clip it and I'll put it in if I can find it. But he's like, what I don't understand is how we had a white man with a machine gun and the officers didn't do anything to him. But since she was a black woman, she got put in handcuffs. That's Reverend Tatum. That's my impression of Reverend Tatum.
And I remember, and it's starting to come back to my memory now. There was another case where we had an individual that was carrying a machine gun down the road. And they stopped. He had a permit for the weapon, or he had, but the fact is they did not put him in handcuffs when they were waiting on him. They went ahead and let him lean up against the side of a car. So, I just want to know, is there one way we handle this for one person? And there's another way we handle this for other. And this particular person that was carrying this weapon, but he was white. And this pregnant woman, she was black.
He's a moron. Good riddance to you. Goodbye. Get off the Civilian Review Board. The next 2 are a little bit more interesting to me. The next one, the guy in the middle, the black gentleman, I guess the darker skinned gentleman, because there's 2 black guys on the screen. That's Willard McIntosh. Willard McIntosh is a retired Columbus police officer, and he taught at the Columbus Police Academy for like 20 some years. He's a guy that was a police officer for a very short period of time. I think he has like 3 or 4 years on the street. He then went to become a burglary detective with 3 or 4 years on, which is something that basically doesn't happen. And then after a couple of years in burglary, I don't know, it was definitely less than 10 years. He went to the police academy, taught at the police academy for the rest of his career. He was on the Civilian Review Board. He is not going to renew his whatever. That's what they call it. You're renewing your term to come to the Civilian Review Board. As long as you renew in a timely manner, you're automatically brought back in. That's my understanding. And then the next one is Mark Fluharty. That's his name. He is a local activist, labor organizer type person, and a Democratic operative. He has given speeches in support of Mayor Andrew Ginther before. Mayor Andrew Ginther has this guy on his Instagram, supporting him, all that other kind of stuff. That's who Mark Fluharty is. But these are the 3 people that are leaving the Columbus Police Civilian Review Board. And I'm going to let you see the clip of the board talking about them leaving and some of the complications that they're going to have with them gone. And then I'll be back.
Thank you. Just by way of update, we are missing a couple of board members this evening. So we will not have, we have a quorum, but we will not have our full board. By way of updates also, I have reached out to the mayor's office, to our liaison contact there, and just know that the process is ongoing for finding replacements for our board members who will be leaving us and not renewing their terms. As soon as I hear updates from them, I will let the rest of you know. Also, we did get a response back from CPD, and I believe we're planning on Chief Bryant or a representative joining us for the June meeting. Okay? All right, with that, I will turn it over. Yes?
Curious, other than board member McIntosh, is there any other board members leaving?
Yes.
Oh, you
were not here. So,
No, I wasn't.
Reverend Tatum and Board McIntosh are both not seeking a second term. So they will be leaving us when we have their replacements sworn in, which we hope that we will have the replacements before they leave. If we don't, we are at risk of not having quorum at our meetings because Board Member Fluharty did retire and resigned early. Technically, the April meeting is supposed to be the last meeting of everyone who is termed. And so the goal is to have those new folks identified so that by May they can be sworn in. However, go ahead, Mr. Price.
I'll need to double check the bylaws regarding quorum, because usually it's the majority of the seats that are full, not the full 11. So I'll double check that for you.
Yep, thank you. So yes, we are losing 3.
So please apply for the Civilian Review Board. Applications are open.
Yes. Mark, Mac, Reverend Tatum.
Oh, Mac also.
Yep.
I didn't hear that. Ooh.
Yeah. There you go.
So not to be too sad.
Alrighty, so there you have it. There is the discussion about who's going to be missing from the board and all that other stuff. A funny thing, I don't know if you guys caught it at the very end of that. I'll go ahead and put the 2 clips together. But Pastor Rich Nathan, who's sitting, I can't point the way I have my screen set up, but he's the guy sitting alone on that back corner with the TV screen behind him. At the very end, he goes, "Oh, Mac, I didn't realize that Mac was also leaving." But at the very beginning of that clip, he actually said, besides McIntosh, who's leaving, does he have that hardcore of a short-term memory problem that he couldn't remember the fact that McIntosh was leaving? I don't know. I found that to be amusing.
Curious, other than board member McIntosh, is there any other board members leaving?
Mark, Mac, Reverend Tatum.
Oh, Mac also.
Yep.
I didn't hear that. Ooh.
Amusing.
Yeah.
So why is the Columbus Police Civilian Review Board failing? It's failing for a variety of reasons. It's failing because it was set up in a very hasty manner without a lot of thought that went into it. And the people that they selected for the board are by and large left-wing, cop-hating activists. And they thought that they were going to come in, take over the police department, start telling officers what to do, start firing police officers and suspending police officers and all this other stuff. And as time has gone on, there's 2 things that happen. One, they realize that they have absolutely zero authority. This Civilian Review Board has zero authority to make anything happen on the police department. The only thing that they can do is make recommendations to the police department. And the police department and the chain of command is under absolutely no obligation whatsoever to follow their recommendations. The other thing that they're doing is that the recommendations, sorry, my eye's itching. The recommendations that they're making are based on investigations done by these people over, sorry, it's on this side on my screen, sitting at that table over there, the Office of the Inspector General and her investigators. So the Office of the Inspector General and her investigators are putting together these packets and sending them to the Civilian Review Board. But we have already proven multiple times over that the investigators with the Office of the Inspector General don't know what they're doing. So the Civilian Review Board is voting on packets that are done by incompetent investigators that we have proved multiple times over. And I know for a fact the members of this board have seen some of my videos about this topic. It's gotten back to me that the safety director for the city of Columbus and the mayor's office have seen my videos on these false investigations that are being done. So it shows the lack of integrity in the system. If you asked me, or at least my hope would be, now I have zero faith in Charles Tatum as a human being having any integrity whatsoever. I think that he's just too busy. He doesn't show up to these meetings. He doesn't understand what's going on. He doesn't belong on the board. Goodbye. Just get the fuck out. That's what I believe about Charles Tatum. Now, when it comes to McIntosh and Mark Fluharty, I'm still not going to agree with them on very many topics. I don't really like them, but what I will say is that I believe they have been acting with a certain degree of integrity when it comes to these investigations and their recommendations and all the other stuff. I believe that they have been somewhat consistent on trying to do the right thing rather than simply trying to do what is politically advantageous. I will at least give them credit for that. And I would like to believe that their conscience and their sense of integrity has actually impacted them and causing them to not renew their application to the Civilian Review Board. And I think that it's such a serious thing that it caused Mark Flannery, let me move my cursor. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. What is it? Oh, hang on. Fluharty. Mark Fluharty. I believe that it was such a severe blow to Mark Fluharty's conscience that he just said, you know what, screw this. Not only am I not coming back, but I'm leaving right now. Bye-bye, see you later. Those are my thoughts on this situation. It'll be interesting to see what kind of people they get to replace these guys, if they're even able to replace these guys. I don't really believe, like, based on the conversation there, doesn't sound like people are chomping at the bit to become members of this Civilian Review Board. So far, the people who are chomping at the bit to get on the Civilian Review Board have proven to be people, for the most part, that are just cop-hating morons. And I think the safety director and the mayor's office are trying to do something to at least give the board an appearance of integrity. And you also have to remember right now, this is a collective bargaining year for the Columbus Police Department. One of the major pieces of the collective bargaining is going to be whether or not the Civilian Review Board, and I'll put their entire picture up right here, whether or not the Civilian Review Board is going to have binding recommendations of discipline. What they want is they want to be able to say, hey, you know what? That officer said a naughty word. I want him to be suspended for 3 days. Right now, they can say that all they want, and the chain of command can basically say, go fuck yourself. We're going to give them a verbal reprimand and tell them to go back to work. That's how things are going right now, and that's how collective bargaining works. The Civilian Review Board has shown a pattern of lack of integrity and complete incompetence. With collective bargaining going, the mayor is not going to get his wish and his desire to have binding recommendations from the Civilian Review Board. And if the FOP and the city can't come to an agreement, what they have to do is they have to send all of their recommendations to an independent arbitrator, and the independent arbitrator will rule what's going to come out of this. There is absolutely no way, with the track record of the Office of the Inspector General and her faulty, false investigations and the incompetence of the Civilian Review Board, there's absolutely no way that an independent arbitrator is going to look at that and give them any authority. So once the new contract is approved between the Fraternal Order of Police and the City of Columbus, and the Civilian Review Board is once again told that they can exist with absolutely no authority, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens to the motivation of the people that belong to this board. It's my strong desire that it just goes away altogether. We'll see how that goes, but I don't know. I think I've said enough about the topic. Said a lot more than I planned on it. I just want to drop a quick video, something that I found interesting, somewhat amusing. That's it for me. I'll talk to you guys later.